back. A Maine-based nonprofit is dedicated to facilitating connection and creating community through shared meals and stories. They bring people together at Story Sharing Potluck Suppers, a series of free community events.
Here to tell us more are Karl Schatz and Margaret Hathaway, the co-founders of Community Plate. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
We love this concept.
Thanks.
It sounds really inviting. Can you tell us more about how you came up with this idea for the suppers? How long has this been going on for?
Well, so we came up with the idea for the suppers. It came out of some cookbooks we put together, the Maine Bicentennial Community Cookbook that came out in 2020. And when we put that together, we saw people really connecting with each other's stories and home cooking. And once the pandemic receded a little, we thought, okay, could we bring this off the page and into community events? So we've been doing this about 18 months.
Wow, and who usually shows up for these, and what do the stories usually look like?
So we've been doing them all over the state. We've
Okay.
done 25 suppers in 12 of Maine's 16 counties over the past 18 months. And wherever we go, we work with a local community partner. So it might be a library, it might be a community center or a community group. Grange. And so they typically work with them because they have connections within the local community. So they bring the people in their community in, and then we have a program that we have created around a theme. Each supper will have a theme, and we create story prompts to encourage people to have conversations, and it's all about food.
And it's really intergenerational. We have people who bring little kids, we have older Mainers. We try to bring in everyone and just have them sort of mix and chat.
Yeah. What sort of impact do you feel like this has had so far? You've said you've had 25 of them?
Yeah. So, we started this right around the time that the Surgeon General had his advisory about the epidemic of loneliness in the United States. And we saw through people making connections through stories about food, because we all have that in common. It's this real common denominator for people. And so by encouraging people to share their stories with each other, their family food stories and family recipes, it helps people become less lonely. It helps people feel connected to their communities, and so often just generally more optimistic.
I love that. Okay, now I gotta know, what kind of food are people bringing to the table?
So amazing food. Every supper, we're like, this is the best one yet.
Oh my goodness.
And then the next one, people bring, it just spans the whole gamut. In the summer, it was a lot of like salads and things like that. But stews that are incredible. This one that we have made over and over again is a Vietnamese beef stew that it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a beef stew, but then it has some lemongrass in it and some basil and cilantro. It's amazing. People bring homemade bread. We have one man who's I think he's come to 3 suppers, and he brings a loaf of bread that he brings each time. It's a wonderful mix. And we never collect, it's a potluck, but we never collect like who will bring what. We just sort of trust that it will sort itself out. And every time we end up with like a nice, well-balanced meal. So now I've jinxed it.
They all deserve not
Yeah.
no. And you mentioned themes. How do you kind of come up with a theme? And is it food-based or?
Well, sometimes it is. We work with a community partner, and then at the end of each supper, we collect the recipes and the stories for what people brought to the supper, and we make a little community cookbook that each person who comes to the supper gets. And the cookbooks are named with the theme of the supper. So I brought a few in here so you can see. So gratitude, you can hold that up. Gratitude was one theme. A Winter's Tale, that was last February that we did a supper.
North Yarmouth.
Oh, love.
We did a supper called Fish Tales, which was for the Bodenham Ice and Smelt Festival.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
We did that. We did one in our backyard. We have a small farm in Gray. It was Farm to Fable was the theme.
I love that.
This is so great.
We did by land and by sea in Brunswick, because our community partners were
both the Maine Fishermen's Association and one of the farming groups.
Yeah.
Great on Hope's butterscotch blondies. That's what the page I just turned on. That makes me very excited. Oh, that's so amazing. And people can try them and then actually make them at home if they want to.
Right. So the nice
sweet.
thing is, if you go to come to the potluck and you have something that you really enjoyed, you'll get the recipe for it and you'll be able to make it.
So can you tell me the difference between story sharing and storytelling here? How does that work?
Well, so storytelling, I think, is really like it's like an art form. It's someone getting up in front of a group, someone who's practiced a story, rehearsed, and it's a bit of a performance. And story sharing is just something that we all do as human beings. It's how we communicate. It's how we get to know each other. And so that's we do both at the suppers. So we have story prompts that we put like on little table tents that are all food focused. So it might be, what are some of the prompts that we've used?
Name a food your mom always made that you hated.
Oh, I love that.
It's share a story about. So we're trying to get people to tell stories. So share a story about a food that every time you eat it reminds you of a specific place or a specific person.
Most of them are much cheerier. I just love the one that lets you vent.
That will get you talking.
Yes.
Or share a story about something that you grew or something that you made with friends or so getting people to start to tell these stories. That are stories we all have in common, and then people can connect over that.
It's a little bit of an icebreaker.
Yes.
And then at the end, we have practice storytellers who get up and tell stories that are also related to the theme. So it's a little dinner and a show. You get a performance at the end.
You're filling the tummy, and then you're also filling the heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a really powerful combination.
All right, so when's the next one? I want to go.
So the next one is in Portland on January 30th at Mechanics Hall, and it's going to be a big one. It's going to be probably about 100 people.
They have a big space.
Yes.
They have a big
sign up?
space. Yeah, so we have a registration page. You have to sign up in advance. We've done suppers as small as 14 people was the smallest one we did in Waterville, and the biggest one we did one at Wolf's Neck Center in Freeport and one in North Yarmouth that both had about 80, 85 people.
Wonderful.
But we have to max it at 96 because that's how many plates we have.
Oh, there we go. And what's your website so people can sign up?
Oh, it's communityplate.me.
Love it.
Right. Wow, what a great concept and huge success so far.
Thank you.